The Fabrica, one can say, is not a publication like many others I've done, or any other publication I've done so far, because in many respects it's a challenge, because for one, it's a translation of an old text, of a 500-year-old text, into a modern language. For another part, it is very important. It's one of the most important books in medical history, which also is quite awe-inspiring. In my case, I thought I have to be really careful when working on this. So it hasn't been in any way a normal project so far, and a normal work I've done. I've never heard of Vesalius before I worked on this project. I haven't even known that there was a famous street in Basel named after him. I have to admit, to my shame, I only found that out afterwards. But as soon as I knew what period, the Renaissance, that he was working in, I knew that it was going to be a really thrilling project, because I have been working with books of the early modern period, and even with manuscripts of the late medieval period. So I knew this would be quite a big and thrilling project. When I heard that I was going to be copy editing this work, I was very excited and thrilled, because I've been working on Renaissance books and medieval books before, and I knew this was going to be the Champions League, one of the most important books. And I also knew how much work this would entail, and luckily not many others in this company knew, maybe because otherwise they might not have taken the challenge. The challenges in this book lie especially in the complex language of Vesalius, which in the Latin was almost unintelligible even to people who speak Latin, more or less fluently, or are acquainted with Latin. So the translation has to cover the difficulty either to become really modern and paraphrase Vesalius, but then going away from the rhetoric style of Vesalius, or to be very close to the original. And Garrison, in the new Fabrica, he chose the second way. He wanted to stay as close as possible to the rhetoric style of Vesalius, which didn't make it easy all the time to copy edit it, because for a modern reader, you would expect different phrasings and so on. So it takes a while to get used to the florid style of the English, which nevertheless is very close to the Latin. It's very easy to find Latin passages when you read the English text, and I think that's very important. We've constantly enlarged the group that has been working on this book. We have a specialist working on the medical terminology that has been integrated, the nomina anatomica, the modern Latin terms for all these different body parts, so that a medically trained reader would know what Vesalius is talking about. Because Vesalius circumscribes the muscles and bones and so on, but it's not always clear to a modern reader what part exactly he means. That's why I included all these medical terms, and they have to be especially copy-edited by a person who is knowledgeable in these medical terms. And we are lucky to have some people working for us doing that. Also, we have other people included in the team that just help with the really complex formatting that's going on. And this is not only in the layout, but also in the copy editing stage, because we have to standardize certain features that Garrison did not standardize, the author. So, and this takes all a lot of time. The most unique or special aspects of the new Fabrica for me is the the generous layout that we have, that we really use all the space, that we go in the original size of the book, so that for the readers it's an awe-inspiring experience if one opens the book. Also that we are able to use colors to help readers easily navigate through the text, so that he always knows whether he's reading in the main text, whether he's reading a legend, also in which chapter he himself finds. Because in the original Fabrica it's sometimes very difficult to know where one is, because there are no chapter indications, only book. Also, we intend to include a very detailed table of contents, so that readers can go into the Fabrica, can search for specific terms and hopefully find them more easily, and also have some kind of an overview over the illustrations we are going to use. And I think all this together makes it a new experience. And maybe to add a last point, it's basically 2 editions in one, because one shouldn't forget that it's actually a combination of the 1943 and the 1555 edition that we are offering people.